Have you ever noticed that Gmail feels almost instant after the first time you open it? You click on an email, it opens immediately. You go back to your inbox, it's already there. You search for something, results appear before you even finish typing. No spinning wheel, no blank screen, no waiting. That's not luck, that's just a fast internet connection. That's a very specific set of engineering decisions behind that experience. And once you understand them, you'll start seeing the same patterns in almost every modern web app you use. So let's break it down, step by step, from the very beginning. Let's go back to how the web used to work. And in many places still works today. You type a web address in your browser. Your browser sends a request to a server somewhere in the world. That server processes the request, builds a response, and sends back a complete HTML page. Your browser receives it, renders it, and you see the result on the screen. Now you click a link, the same thing happens again. Your browser sends a new request, the server builds a new page, everything gets sent back again, and again, and again. Every single click triggers a full round trip to the server. For simple websites, that's fine. A blog post, news article, a contact form. These don't need to feel instant. A few hundred milliseconds of loading is completely acceptable. But Gmail is not a blog post. Gmail is an application. You interact with it constantly. You click, you scroll, you search, you compose, you delete. If every single one of those actions requires a round trip to a server and one of Google's data centers, Gmail would feel unbearably slow. So Google did something different. They changed the model entirely. Here's what actually happens when you open a Gmail for the first time. Your browser makes a request to Gmail's service. So far, nothing new. But what comes back is not a pre-built HTML page full of content. What comes back is a very kind of file. It's a JavaScript file, a large one. And this file contains the entire Gmail application. Not the emails, not your inbox, not your contacts, the application itself. The logic, the rules, the interface, the code that knows what to do when you click a button or search for a name or drag an email into a folder. This file lands in your browser. Your browser executes it, and in that moment, Gmail becomes a living application running directly on your computer, inside your browser tab. After that, the server job changes completely. To understand what the server does after that initial load, you need to understand how data moves between your browser and Google's service and this new model. The approach is called AJAX. It stands for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Though the name is a bit misleading because modern applications rarely use XML anymore. The word that matters is asynchronous. Asynchronous means that your browser doesn't freeze and wait every time it needs something from the server. Instead, it sends a small background request, continuous doing what it was doing, and when the response comes back, it quietly updates just a part of the page that needs to change. So when you open an email, here's what actually happens. JavaScript code running in your browser detects that you clicked. It sends a tiny request to Google service asking for the content of that specific email. The server sends back just that data. The subject, the body, maybe some metadata, not HTML. No styling, no navigation menu, just raw information. The JavaScript then takes that data and builds the email view on screen, dynamically, right there in your browser. The rest of the page doesn't change. The inbox list on the left stays exactly where it is. The toolbar at the top doesn't reload. Only the part that needs to update actually updates. This is dramatically more efficient than sending a whole new page every time. Now let's look about the page itself, because this is where the term single page application comes from. In a traditional website, every time you navigate somewhere new, you get a new page. A new HTML document loads. The browser clears what was there before and renders the new content. In a single page application, that never happens. There's only ever one page. It loads once and it never reloads. Everything you see, every view, every screen, every panel is generated dynamically by JavaScript inside that one page without ever leaving it. When you go from your inbox to your sent folder in Gmail, you didn't navigate to a new page. JavaScript just replaced what was visible on screen. The URL in your browser address bar changed, but that change was also controlled by JavaScript. To make it look and feel like a normal navigation, including working with your browser's back button, This is the foundation that makes Gmail feel like an application rather than a website, because it is an application. It just happens to run in your browser. Let's talk about what's inside that JavaScript file and why it's so large. Modern web page applications are built using frameworks, structured systems of code that make it easier to build complex interfaces. Gmail uses Google's own framework called Angular. Other popular frameworks include React, built by Meta, and Vue, built by an independent community. These frameworks give developers tools for managing what's displayed on screen, responding to user interactions, sending and receiving data from servers, and keeping everything organized as the application grows. When you include a framework in a web application, plus all the custom code the developers write on top of it, plus all the utility libraries and tools they depend on, the total JavaScript file can become very large. We're talking about hundreds of kilobytes, sometimes megabytes. Gmail's initial JavaScript payload is substantial. But here's the thing, you only download it once. After that, your browser caches it. The next time you open Gmail, your browser checks whether the file has changed. If it hasn't changed, it lowers the cached version from your own device instead of downloading it again. Near instant. That word, cache, is worth spending some time on because it's doing a lot of heavy lifting in this story. A cache is a temporary storage location. Your browser has one. It stores files it has already downloaded, so it doesn't have to download them again. Images, style sheets, JavaScript files. These can all be cached. When you first visit Gmail, your browser downloads the JavaScript application and stores it in its cache. It also stores other assets, icons, fonts, style sheets, and everything visual and functional that doesn't change very often. When you come back to Gmail the next day, your browser first checks its cache. It asks, do I already have a version of this file? Is it still valid? If yes, it uses that version, no download required. This is why Gmail loads faster on your second visit than your first. Google controls how long these files stay in the cache by setting something called cache headers. Instructions embedded in the server's response that tell your browser exactly how long to trust the cached version before checking again. For files that change rarely, like the core JavaScript application, these headers can be set to allow caching for days, weeks, or even months. This means that for a regular Gmail user, the heavy lifting of downloading the application almost never happens after that very first visit. But caching doesn't just happen at the browser level. There's another layer worth understanding. Google serves Gmail to users all over the world. If every request had to travel to a single server in one location, users in Belgium or Brazil or Singapore would experience much higher delays than users close to that server.